Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the last weekend of Men's Mental Health Month. Good evening. So, as I said, today we're going to be talking about Men's Mental Health Month, and we have a counselor and psychologist, Miss Jhanvi Kundra. She's a psychologist at Above and Beyond. She's also a counseling psychologist, expressive art therapist, and hypnotherapist. Good evening, Miss Jhanvi. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine as well. Thank you.
Great.
So, do you want to add something to what I just added before about you?
Oh, definitely. It's my privilege to be here. It's my privilege to get a chance to talk about men's mental health because I particularly feel that this particular topic is very underrated in our society, especially if we talk about India. So it's my extreme privilege to talk about it.
Thank you, and it is our privilege as well to interview you. Thank you for being here. Uh, we jump right into the questions if you don't mind, right? Uh,
Definitely.
yes. So, my first question is very generic and to the topic. So, what do you want others to know about men's and mental health, like the correlation between
Okay. So when we talk about men and mental health, both are the stigma, but both are the stigma attached things, right? So we have particular stigmas and taboos related to men's. Men are not allowed to cry. Men are not allowed to show themselves weak. Okay, men are not allowed to be very submissive. They are supposed to be dominating. That is the kind of layout our society has laid for men. But when a man is crying, when a man is telling about their emotions, that person is considered to be more like a feministic person or more like a weak person. So my idea is to ask whether, like, why, where is it coming from? We all are supposed to express ourselves, right? In the childhood, you only tell me. In our childhood, our parents never discriminated between, okay, she's my daughter or he's my son. If we
yes,
were crying, they used to console us, right?
yes,
Then why it suddenly end up becoming that, okay, you are a female, you're supposed to cry, it's okay, I'm there to help you out. Okay, you are a man, be a man, why are you crying like a girl? Where is it coming from? Why crying is only for women? Why not for men? So that is the first thing which comes in my head whenever we talk about men's mental health.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah,
You
exactly.
you tell me what stigmas you have come across being a man.
So stigmas. So I've been very fortunate to not be through these, but yeah. So if I focus on some things, then it might be in the boarding school, like where I was in a boys' boarding school.
Hmm.
So there itself, yeah. So if you don't take part in like the boxing competition, or if you don't win it, then they be like, "What a wuss," and
Oh,
he is acting like a girl and stuff like that. Like, why so feminine? Why not take part in these things? And being
okay.
being a border, so that's what, yeah. So yeah, that was one of my stigmas that I faced.
See, we all like, or if I ask each and every man,
Yeah,
they all must have gone through this, right? Because every man has somewhere or the other the same experience.
yes, that's true. That's definitely true. So my next question is related to more related to the mental health aspect, not towards the stigma, right? Um, so, what are a few warning signs that of mental health conditions
Okay, is it basic, like generic for everyone or for men itself?
for men, mostly for men?
Okay. So, we cannot talk about signs and symptoms why mental health is deteriorating or what is happening, but we can surely, continue talking about how we can determine that something is wrong with us and something is wrong with our mental health, which needs attention. So, whenever you are feeling that you are around a lot of people and still you feel very, very lonely, Just keep a check over yourself. Whenever your sleep cycle is deteriorating, keep a check over yourself. You're overthinking, and you know that these thoughts are pretty much baseless. You don't know their base of where they're coming from. Just keep a check over yourself. Just check where are they coming from. Do you need any help? If there is a need of any help, just seek out for the same. So these are the little warning signals everybody should check upon, and I personally believe there is no such thing that men can't talk. Men can't talk about their emotions. They're just supposed to show their anger and repress their sadness. No, it's as equal as showing their happiness, showing their anger. It's as equal as that. So it's a basic emotion we all should show.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Uh, I think yeah, you simplified it very well enough for everyone to understand. Uh, Thank you so much. So my next question is, what are some of the stereotypes and reasons why men are hesitant to seek treatment for issues such as depression, then substance abuse, and stressful life events?
So, since I have already talked about sadness and why men are not supposed to be sad, they're not supposed to be someone who expresses themselves pretty well. So,
Yes,
this concern I have already talked about, but if I talk about more stereotypes, one amongst those stereotype is related to work.
yeah,
So I personally believe a lot of men have bundled themselves with a lot of work under societal pressure. So even if they're not able to work in a certain scenario, they're pressurized by society to work. And even if the work is not giving them immense pleasure, they have to still keep on working because they are the bread earner of the family. They have that. Even if a lot of family members are working, but there is a burden over shoulders that, oh, men in your family don't work, that man is not working, how old is he? So I believe this is a kind of societal pressure more than anyone men go through, and they are very reluctant to seek therapy, seek help, because they feel like society would judge them if they tell anybody that I'm not able to find a job or I'm not able to work somewhere. It's just as simple as being unemployed. So it's a kind of stereotype for men to talk about that, to talk about work life balance, because they are assumed, men are assumed to take care of their families as well as maintain their work life balance and take care of finances as well. And it's not just a one day thing, it's coming right from our early man. So early man, like women used to come like cook and take care of family. They used to go hunt,
yes,
and that was the kind of symbol of their strength. So that symbol of strength is carry forwarded from our ancestors. So this stereotype is the biggest stereotype which we are supposed to work upon, because we should understand that if men are working, there might be days when they might feel low and they might end up seeking help. So we shouldn't be reluctant enough to stop them from seeking any kind of help they need.
yes, that's true. Eventually, everyone is exhausted, and sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, everyone wants a break.
And especially in pandemic situation when we all are working from home.
Yes, that's true. So yeah, working from home is another uh, burden in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, so yeah, like you said, from the early man, it was engraved, I think, in the DNA of how people think, or like how people perceive the world. Uh, so, like you said, that has to change. So, how can we, focus towards that, and how can we bring about change in such a deep-rooted cause? You know, uh, Today we are talking about it, but and we hope to get to a point where everybody's talking about it, right? So that we can have these changes.
Right.
So, how do we go about that? Yes,
So,
ma'am.
are we talking about how to go about the changes we need in our society, like changes
Uh,
in mental health, or showing what we are feeling?
so changes as in changes as we as individuals can do to change that.
Okay. So first we need to, like, we cannot anyone expect anyone to understand us until we are not acknowledging our feelings. So if you are into a denial that I am a man, I'm not supposed to cry, then you cannot convince anyone else to behave in certain way, because you yourself are not you are not convinced enough to console others. So first thing first, be someone who acknowledges. Second, don't live in denial. You have it, show it. Don't live in denial that I am brave, I am brave. There is nothing like being brave in terms of mental health. If you need help, it's brave to, like, seek help. That is the bravest thing you can do. So denial is not an option. Don't live in denial. Third thing is, know your passion. Follow your passion, make time for your passion. If you are doing something you're passionate about, then be it a little hobby, be it a, a little drive outside your home, whatever you makes you feel calm, do that. Because if you're having a bad day, all 6 days you had a bad time, on Sunday you are giving yourself a treat, a pampering treat. That can make a day, and it's for men, it's for women, it's for everybody who is working around. But since we're talking about men, so I just wanted to emphasize more over men. So yeah, acknowledge your feelings, and like, bribe yourself with good things. It's okay to appreciate yourself for little things. It's okay to uh, take yourself for a solo date. Just go be with yourself and do what you like the most. You don't often need people to be around to make you feel happy.
Yes, that's true. You can so happiness comes from within is something I've
That is
heard.
right word to be said.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that does bring perspective to what's happening around and what we should be looking forward. Yeah. Thank you. My next question is related to mental health and various disorders, like physical disorders. So sometimes people they don't talk about it, right? They can't express themselves to one another. Uh, so they fall into this habit or cycle of doing. So, like I said earlier in the earlier questions, substance abuse or like stressful life event. So during substance abuse, it can be abuse of illegal stuff, then addictive stuff, but then it can also be of food, right? Um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on about eating disorders in men?
Yeah. So eating disorders are generally very common in women. Like, under eating is very common in women, because of the fake body standards we have in our society. To have a zero figure and to look good, you have to do this. But yeah, it's, I won't say it's not there in men as well. Overeating is there, under eating is still there, exists for men. So you know what, Bhagesh, what happens when you're repressing your emotions?
Yes,
They need some way of coming out, and they want a comfort for you. So for few people, they get anxious, a lot anxious, when something happens in their life which is triggering their mental health, and they end up puking things. They end up not eating something because they are anxious enough not to
yes,
deal with it. They are very anxious. They cannot have anything. Even if they're having, they feel that I ate too much, or am I just gulping too much? So they are in a guilt trip. Okay, they are
yes,
not having an intuitive hunger. That is something related to under eating. Whereas
yes,
few people end up feeling better when they eat. So if something worst happens to them, what they do, they'll repress their emotions by eating and gulping, like gulping a lot of things, which ends
yes,
up in becoming binge eating. So this is the revolution of eating disorders. How people get in a trap of eating disorder. Okay,
okay,
so they are more of repression, less of emotion, because their emotions are repressed and they are just seeking out to feel like get rid of that pain. That is why that is where the eating disorder is emerging. So
Okay.
yeah, that is the revolution of eating disorder.
Uh, yes, like you said, once you repress your emotions, you can go into overeating or not eating at all, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when it comes to repressing feelings, there is a point where people reach where there is no turning back, and they go to different lengths to repress those emotions and not let them come out, to not feel weak or to again relate it to the stigmas, right? So
Right.
my next question is related to suicide because it's generally more prevalent or it's more dangerous in men as in women, like as studies have showed. Women tend to have more suicides, but the more fatalities by committing suicides are men. Uh, so my next question is, how are mental connection, like how are mental health conditions and suicide rates are different for men and women, and what is the cause of these differences?
Okay. So if we talk about differences in suicidal tendencies between men and women,
Yeah.
I don't believe it's a fair comparison. I believe we all are going through our different issues. We all of us have different issues. It has nothing to do comparison with. Since we are talking about men, so I'll definitely go up with men and talk about men itself. So what happens if we talk in terms of men versus women? So women usually go through cases of anxiety, depression, and because of that, women end up seeking help, and then they get into self harm things. So bipolar disorder is the biggest disorder which leads to bipolar borderline personality. These are certain disorders which trigger you to get into suicidal tendency or get into a self harm behavior. So this
Yeah.
is something which happens. At the same time, if I talk about reasons for suicide in men, then they are very common. Not suitable money, not good finance. We have seen a lot of this in farmers.
Yes, that's true.
A lot of farmers in our company, in our country, commit suicide because they are not able to fulfill their finances and financial needs. One is this thing. Second, emotional barriers. Since we are bundling them with a lot of pressure, so a lot of men get into that pressure and they don't know how to come out of the loop. That's why they end up committing suicide. Next is substance use. So we all know that there are certain substances which can lead us to hallucinations, which can lead us to delusions. So
Yeah.
this can also become a big reason of suicide because you go through multiple concerns, you go through multiple complications when you're taking any substance, then be it any kind of drug, alcohol, anything. So substance use can be one certain option for one certain reason for this. So
Yeah.
suicide has various other reasons. We cannot just justify it with these few, but yeah,
Yes.
definitely few of these things can contribute in the suicidal tendencies.
Yes, that's true. We don't. There are so many people, and we cannot put
Absolutely.
a pin on each and every
Yeah,
reason, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
true. So yeah, thank you for sharing these common, like mostly common reasons that some like that can lead to a person going over the edge or leading to the extreme, right?
yeah.
Thank you for sharing. My next question is again related to the Sunni. Uh, so, what do you think contributes to the discrepancy between attempted and completed suicide rates? Right.
Okay. So, how like are you asking what is the difference between committing suicide and attempting suicide, and what are the reasons for the same?
Uh, no. So, my question is related to. So, like I said earlier, right? Women tend to commit or attempt more suicide, but the completion rate no,
Correct,
is
correct.
more.
Okay. So there are various reasons. Since we talked about reasons related to mental health, there are certain reasons why people attempt suicide, but they don't commit it. So it's called attention seeking behavior. So when you commit suicide, you feel you're not committing suicide, you're just self harming yourself just to gain attention from people. So the biggest reason could be family not being attentive enough to you, having a childhood history, might have a history of abuse at family. So people with such things like not taking it to disorders and deep with mental health, but yeah, people who are dealing with attention, they were not given enough attention in childhood or in their families, their relationships are not fulfilling, they end up attempting the suicides because they
Yes.
find it a nice way to seek attention from people and to gain affection from them. Whereas people with serious concerns who are trapped into the loop of debt, there are a lot of people who are debt trapped. So they commit suicide because they feel like it's the end of the world. Now, how am I supposed to do it? Depression can be one amongst the reason. You were a billionaire one day. Next day, stock market crashed. You have nothing. You commit suicide. So these are the cases which can lead you to severe clinical depression and can uh, give you the tendency of self harm. That is why there is a fine line difference between attempting suicide and committing it, because not everybody who is self harming wants to commit suicide. They are just in the need of
That's true.
sufficient attention.
Yes, that's true. Uh, so again, yeah. So attention is the main cause, and why is it the main cause? It's because they want to express their feelings, but they can't, in because
Yeah.
due to certain societal pressures, right?
Yeah, and absolutely every person has a different way of expressing their emotions, different way of expressing their feelings. This is one among those reasons, let's assume.
That's true. So my final question related to this is how can we prevent and reduce the amount of suicides for men?
Okay. So, reducing suicide and can only be done by awareing people. If we are
Yes.
awareing them first to acknowledge their emotions so that they can express better, can work. Second, we can help them with providing a lot of help around them. So if we are providing a lot of help around them, they have a lot of resources to work with, and that's how they can get to the right person. So if you need help, you know what is supposed to be done. But before that, you have to educate. So the third thing comes first, educate people. We should run campaigns in schools breaking this taboo. Like in schools we used to have a lot of campaigns, a lot of companies used to come, and they used to teach us certain concepts in our primary classes, that okay, this is good, this is bad, something like this. And these days even schools are giving sexual awareness, like sexual awareness to kids, like sexual abuse awareness, that what is right, what is wrong, when to say no. A lot of schools are doing it to kids, for kids. So same way our society should definitely do this right from the primary level, that there is no difference between men and women, and happens same for the mental health. So right from the schools, entering to the college, to corporates, even in
Yes.
corporates, and this cannot be done by a single body. Government needs to
Yes.
take action, private bodies need to take action, and employers are supposed to be mindful enough towards their employees, so that they have a healthy environment and they have a very good workplace environment where their employees are fairly associated with the mental health and they are not reluctant to talk about it. So these three things can really help: acknowledging your emotion, awareing them about their emotions, awareing them about the options to take when there is a breakdown, and just uh, diminishing the stigmas around us, derooting the stigmas around us can really help.
Yes, that's true. Rerouting. I think that's the word. I think I would focus on because yeah, it's like a tree that is built, and then it's a tree of destruction if you metaphorically see it. And then
Yeah,
its
yeah.
roots are right. It's very deep in our society, and we need to uproot it
Deroot.
from the yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that did resonate with me. Thank you. Uh, so, like you said earlier, if we have education from the bottom, from the first step itself, from pre-primary education, right, where we talk about mental health and going up to the corporate level. So, what I know, like what is currently going on is we do have hospitals everywhere. Like how we treat physical health, if we treat mental health in the same way, I feel we can definitely reach a point where everyone's talking about it and everyone is mindful and conscious about the decisions.
Hmm.
Yes, that's true.
That- yeah.
So, my next question is: how can men suffering from mental illness currently? So, what we could do for the next batch of people is covered, right? So, what do we do currently, like in this scenario, and in this in today's time, seeing how things are going? So, how can men suffering from a mental illness be more encouraged to get help?
Uh, so to get encouraged to get help is to first acknowledge the fact that something is happening with you, which is not good. So if you live in denial, you cannot seek help. Even if I have been through a lot of cases where clients come for the therapy, but
Yes,
the very term of therapy scares them. So they ask
yes,
for therapy and they never turn out. They never turn up for the therapy. So you need to acknowledge the fact that nobody is going to push you for therapy. If you
yes,
want it, you should go for it. If someone is telling you to do and just for the sake of them you're doing it, don't do it until you are not ready to have it, because then you won't be doing justice to the entire process of therapy. You're not ready for it. So when you
yes,
are ready, then only go for it and make yourself ready. Second thing, I just want to give a little tip so that everybody who watches it have a takeaway from our conversation. So even if you're going through any mental health illness or you just feel very overwhelmed with your thoughts, so
yes,
you can do certain breathing techniques. You can opt certain breathing techniques whenever you're anxious, you're stressed. So all you can do is you can simply put your thumb like this in front of your face, breathe in, and then blow the air, like breathe out as if you're blowing the candle. So it's like breathing in and then blowing it off as if you're blowing the candle. This is one technique. Another technique to make yourself feel calm when you're angry, sad, reckless is to trace your hand. So whenever like use your index finger from another hand, and
yes,
whenever you're anxious, just do this. Breathe in when you go up, breathe out when you go down. Breathe in when you go up, breathe out when you go down. So follow such breathing techniques. They can not make you like fight through the entire anxiety process. I won't like lie for it. But at the moment, even if you have a therapist around you, when the anxiety is triggering, you have to have something for yourself. So that is that little thing which can help you out, because not every time you'll arrange a therapy session and the anxiety would knock your door that, okay, listen, you have a session at 6, let me come at 6. So you should have a
yes,
mechanism for yourself whenever it hits hard to you. The second thing is write your thoughts, write as much as possible, and the negative thoughts you can either tear the page, you can flush the page, you can make an aeroplane out of that page and make it fly away from you. So the idea is to get rid of those negative thoughts from your system, from your entire system of head. These are the little takeaway things I had for our viewers.
yes. Definitely. Thank you. And in the moment, so these tips and tricks, sorry, will definitely, help in the short term to get that
Calm over yourself. Yeah.
calmness. Yes, the calmness that you get in the moment, right? To de-stress. Uh, yes, that's definitely helpful. And even I will try it in certain situations.
Ah, that is
Uh,
great.
uh, so yes, thank you for sharing this. Uh,
Yeah.
and so yeah, now we've reached the end of our live session. So one last uh, question that I would ask you is, Do you have any message to share with the audiences today before we go?
Oh, definitely. I have a message for everyone. So, no matter men, women, whosoever is watching it, uh,
Yeah.
just a little message won't give you a lot of lecture because I have shared a lot of things to you. But the only thing is, at the end of the day, nobody is going to check over you. There are days when nobody would text you to ask, how are you? They would simply text you, listen, can you do this? Can you do that? They won't even ask, hey, how are you? So, who is supposed to check upon yourself? You are the only one. If you're not feeling good, check upon yourself. Why not? More than you say, why me? Ask yourself, but why? So when you don't blame yourself for whatever you're going through, and rather you are seeking the answers that, but why I'm feeling like this, then you go to the root of the cause. Like you go
Yeah.
to the root cause, you spiral yourself towards the root cause, and then you end up giving solutions to your own self. So there is a mechanism called flight and fight mode. Now it's up to you whether you want to fight through it or just go with the flow. So this particular conversation would help you out with it
Yes, definitely. So what I gather is positive reinforcement out of these
a
negative
lot.
emotions, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
yes.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for sharing this, and definitely me and the viewers will have taken a lot from this interview. Thank you so much for coming here. So
Thank
everybody, if
you.
you liked it, I've put Ms. Janvi's links in the comments below, so you can visit her social media pages. And if you want to connect with her and get more insights or talk to her as a psychologist, you can visit above and beyond in the link below. Thank you so much. If you like it, then please like it. Then share and subscribe with whoever you feel needs it. Right. See you next weekend on Sunday at 6 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Thank you, Ms. Jani.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.